Hey guys, I've got a quick video here for all of you Subaru fans, enthusiasts, repair guys who are working on. I've got this particular one here is a 2002 Subaru Outback LL Bean wagon. It has almost 308,000 miles on it. It's actually in really good condition. Don't have any problems with the engine, but the problem that I've been having is with the suspension. I see a lot of people on the forums who are asking about rear camber adjustment on these Outback wagons. Now, as you know, Subaru, for whatever reason, did not put a camber adjustment on the rear, only the front. So, the one thing I noticed when I first got this, and I didn't know a whole lot about Subarus before I got this car, is I've noticed that the rear camber is kicked out. You can see how it's sitting more like this instead of being perpendicular. Asking around on the Subaru forums didn't get much in the way of help, surprisingly. I heard a lot of people say trailing arms, heard a lot of people basically just giving information that wasn't necessarily relative to that. So I want to show you real quick what I found. Just a quick backup, I bought a parts 2002 Subaru Outback wagon. It had 150,000 miles. It was hit in the back. Perfect donor car. Everything on it was beautiful. So what I did is I started digging around. I knew that the shocks in the front were worn out, so I assumed that the shocks in the back were probably bad. In all fairness to Subaru, those are probably the original shocks. So kudos to Subaru for building a good shock or strut. But you can see that these particular ones are the ones I pulled out of my donor car, the one rear and the two fronts. There's the back one. The only reason why I wanted to go ahead and replace it is that it seemed like it was also kind of sagging a little bit in the back. The front one's a little bit on the bouncy side. So hopefully this will help somebody else out so that they're not going through the frustration buying parts and just throwing at it. Because that's not a good way to repair things. So what I did is I just went ahead and, like I said, I pulled these particular items out of my donor car. And fortunately, I have a warehouse to go ahead and do this in. This is my work. But in order to fix this, I was going ahead and I started out with the strut assembly. Strut assembly is really easy to change. Not going to go into that really all that much right now. Just suffice it to say that two top mounting bolts are there and there, just right underneath all this back spare tire area. And just to save some time, since we're 3 minutes into it, that we're going to go from that, which is horrible, to that, which is exactly the way that it's supposed to be. It's perpendicular. The problem that I also had, and I noticed this after I came back on a trip, this is just what happened in a few hundred miles, is you'll notice that the inside of my tire scrubbed and wore right down to the belts. So I, within the day, am going to replace that. The one over here on this side isn't quite as bad, but you can still see, and these were perfectly good tires when I put them on, because again, I got them off the donor car. So, live and learn. But anyway, I'm hoping someone else can benefit from my mistakes. So, or learning. I guess it's not really a mistake, it's just learning. So, and this being the suspension area, I'm sorry for the shaky camera, but let's see if I can point here. This is your trailing arm. There's a link up above this, which you can kind of see it just right up there. Sorry about that. Anyway, the part that you're going to be replacing is your upper control arm, also called a link. Here's what a normal one will look like. This just sits right in there, right next to the rear strut. Actually really easy to get to. Penetrating oil and brute force is going to be needed to get these off of here. So be forewarned. And really didn't notice a whole lot from the outside. Once I took, now this is the old one. Once I took it off, this is the outside of the car, inside of the car. You already noticed right now, this is the bushing. When I pull it out of there, the thing was just wiggling back and forth. You can see, obviously, that has pretty much buggered up the sleeve that goes inside of the bushing. It has even wallowed that out, so it's sort of made its own camber adjustment bolt, as it were. So that's what 300,000 miles will do. So I guess note to anybody else out there who's buying a high mileage vehicle, even though it may not look like it from the outside, you can have worn components. That my car also has some squeaking in the rear end. I don't imagine that I have replaced everything that I need to on this. This is just a start because I can't have it blowing tires, chewing up, $100 per tire, and it's not safe. So anyway, that is what it's going to look like. Again, really easy. So I'm going to go ahead and get these changed out here. So once again, 2002 Subaru Outback wagon with 300,000 miles. It's crazy that it just goes and goes and goes, but you can bring them back from the dead, either get new parts. These things are so easy to change. I know they sell bushing kits for these. I guess the only reason why I would suggest maybe replacing the bushing, see, even if I just replace the bushing in this, it's already damaged the actual link itself. These things are so dirt cheap that I would just go ahead and recommend replacing it as a unit. I wouldn't even bother with these here. So anyway, I hope that helps somebody. I'll get this uploaded. Drop me a comment down below if this is helpful. If it's not, if there's something you would do different, let me know. Anyway, best of luck to you guys. Thanks for watching.